Good morning, everyone. Uh, we are continuing our series of Introduction to MATLAB through the MathWorks program MATLAB on-ramp, and we are entering into exciting phase where we'll be working with the matrices. In the earlier video, we have seen how we can enter the matrices by different means. So let us go ahead and continue our program. Right. So now we'll be going through this array creation functions. Okay. MATLAB contains many functions that help you create commonly used matrices, such as matrices of random numbers. Right. Uh, Many a times you will be requiring the use of different algorithms wherein you require random numbers, random variables, and there these kind of matrices will help you. Okay, so let us do the first task. What is the first task? It is asking us uh, create a variable named x that is a 5 by 5 matrix of random numbers. Okay, so for that I'll be just clicking here. I'll write x equal to rand. This random is a inbuilt function of MATLAB. If I write 5, okay, so what it will do is it will create a matrix of size 5 by 5, and it will initialize the matrix with random values. Okay, so how do I run this much section? Remember, just click on this run section and we can see the output on the right hand side. Got it? So we have 1 2 3 4 5 columns and 5 rows. So we get a 5 by 5 matrix with random values initialized to it. Moving on, let us submit this particular task, and moving on, we'll wait for the task 2. Okay, so the task 2 asks us, it is asking us use random to create an array that contains 5 rows and 1 column. Okay, and assign the result to a variable named x. So just as you see in the first task, when you write rand in bracket 5, if you provide only one value, the understanding is that it is both for rows and columns. But if you do not want a square matrix, if you want different numbers of rows and columns, that also can be specified in this. Okay, so let us try this. Let us create a array that contains 5 rows and 1 column. Okay, so I'll write x is equal to random. I'll open the parenthesis, 5 rows for 5 comma 1. 1 is for column, right? So this should give us the answer. Let us check this. I'll run the section again. Great. So let us submit and check it whether our answer is correct or not. Okay, so you got on the right hand side which is correct. Okay, it has these 5 values and it's a 5 by 1, 5 rows 1 columns. Wonderful. Let us move on to the next task. Then there is another function called as zeros, which function to create a matrix of all zeros that has 6 rows and 3 columns, 6 by 3. Now as you must have realized by now that the functions are simply named. So if there is a zeros function, it will give you a matrix of all zeros. Okay, now why you will need a matrix of all zeros at the first place? Many a times when you write an algorithm, you write in engineering, we have to write iterative algorithms. That means first we initialize all the values to 0, and then we will go on iterating over this ultimately till we get the final answer. So for initializing to 0, we can use this function zeros, right? So let us try this. I'll write x equal to zeros, 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 and I need how many rows and columns? I need 6 rows, 3 columns. So I'll write 6 comma 3, and I will run this section, and let us check whether our answer is correct or not. All right, so we got that matrix. Okay, 6 by 3 matrix with all zeros, right? So by now you must have realized that MATLAB has these inbuilt functions which eases our job of coding, especially for engineering purposes. Okay, in further practice, we want to see if there is an existing matrix, and let us say you want to find out what is the size of that matrix. Okay, then we can use this size function in MATLAB. Okay, so if I simply write size x, it will return the size of the matrix. What is the size of this matrix? The size of the matrix x as of now is 6 comma 3. So if I write size x and if I run this section, you will get the answer as 6, 3. So the answer will also be a vector, but it is a row vector with two columns. The first column signifies the number of rows, second column gives the number of columns. Okay, and now if you want to create a new matrix which is of this size and it is of random, then we can initialize with random values. Then I can use the random function, and then I can say size x. Okay, so let us run this section once again, and you will see the output here. Okay, so you have 6 rows 3 columns, and now we have a 6 rows 3 columns random matrix which is initialized to random values. All right, so how do you get this? Why this will be required again? This will be required because again, many a times in a program we need to check the size of a particular matrix, and accordingly we have to dynamically allot the values to that matrix. Okay, so in such cases these kinds of function will be very handy and helpful. Okay, so we have seen the zeros function and the random function and the size function here, right? You have to remember one thing, that MATLAB has n number of functions. It is difficult for any course or for anyone to predict, to tell you one by one all the functions. So generally whenever you will need a function, just intuitively think about the function name. For example, if you want to find out the eigenvalues of a matrix, what function name do you think? EIG, right? So if you check EIG is an inbuilt function in MATLAB. If you want to take the cosine of a value, cosine of an angle, so what will you think? COS or cos, right? Exactly. So this function is available in MATLAB. All right. So that is the advantage of MATLAB, that the names which you can intuitively think are mostly the function names also. Okay. Let us move on to the next section and see what is there in store for us. Right. Okay. So now again, when you will go through this MATLAB, you will have these videos. So let me pause these videos for you because this is not required as of now. Moving ahead, now I will be taking you through a very important concept of this arrays, which is called as indexing. Now what is indexing? You know, I have been telling you that in MATLAB everything is a matrix or arrays, a combination of arrays. Many a times, or in fact most of the times, we require that some part of the array should be taken out for calculation purpose or for display purpose. Okay, in such case you need to access an element of the array by way of indexing. Okay, so let us consider this 4 by 4 matrix, 3 by 4 matrix, which has 3 rows and 4 columns. If you want to access any element of the matrix, the standard method is name the matrix, open a parenthesis, specify the row and the column. For example, if I want to access this particular 8, this particular value, which row and column it belongs to? It belongs to the third row and the first column. So I will say x in bracket 3 comma 1, it will give me the answer as 8. This is one way of extracting the matrix. Another way of doing it is, you can, if you simply write x3, then MATLAB will return this value. Why? Because MATLAB follows the numbering process like this. So for this particular value will be the first element, this will be second, then third, then it will go here 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. This is a very vague way of referring to any element, and generally it is not followed, but it is there in MATLAB which you can utilize. Sometimes you will require to take out an entire row or an entire column of a matrix. Most of the times this will be required, that you want to extract entire row or column. How do you do that? For that, we once again use the magical colon operator, these two dots. Okay, for example, I want to extract the first row out of this matrix and save it in a new variable. So what I can do is, I can do this, I can write x in bracket 1 comma colon, x in bracket 1 comma colon. What it means is, it is the first row and all the columns, first row and all the columns. So this colon represents all the columns, and the 1 represents the rows. Okay, so I will have all the columns of the first rows which will be recorded here. Similarly, if I want to take out the second column, then I will have this column I want to extract. Then I will use x colon comma 2. That means colon in the first field means all the rows. So this specified all the rows second column, right? So 1 comma colon comma 2. So this way you can extract a particular variable in a particular element in a matrix. Okay, so let us move on further. So as you have seen that the how to access a particular row or particular element in a matrix, a row in a matrix or a column in a matrix. Let us do some practice on this. Okay, and let us get back to the MATLAB window. Right now, in this case, these two commands, load data file and data, this is just a matrix which is given to us for practice purpose. And now let us try to extract various elements out of this matrix. So the first task is, what is the first task? Create a variable x that contains the value in the 6th row and 3rd column of the variable data. So I want to extract the 6th row, 3rd column. So x equal to, I'll write x equal to, from where I want to extract? From data. So I'll write data. Which row and which column I want to extract? 6th row, 3rd column. So I'll write 6 comma 3, right? And then I'll run this section. Okay, and let us see what is the value. So the value which comes out is 9.0698, which is 1 2 3 4 5 6th. Okay, 6th row, 1 2 3 4 5 6th row, and the 3rd column. So the 3rd column is 9.0698 because this is actually a 7 by 3 matrix, and out of this 7 by 3 matrix we want the value in the 6th row and 3rd column. Okay, so we are getting this answer. Let us check whether it is correct or not. Okay, so when I submit, it is saying correct. Okay, it is saying correct. If you check this carefully, now you can see 1 2 3 4 5 6th row, 3rd column, it is 9.0698. this value we got correctly. Okay, let us do the next task. Next task is, we can use the end keyword. Okay, so instead of writing the colon, colon is for all. Similarly, if you want to use the last one, last column, last row, then we can use the end keyword. Okay, so you can use the MATLAB keyword end as either a row or a column index to refer the last element. Okay, so y is equal to a in bracket end comma 2 means the last row, 2nd column. Okay, so the task given to us is use the end keyword to obtain the value in the last row and 3rd column of the variable data. Okay, and assign it to x. So last row and 3rd column. So what I will write is x equal to data, because I want to take it out from data. I'll write end because I want the last row, and which column I need? 3rd column. So I'll write 3. Let us run this and check it. Okay, so what is the value in the last row, 3rd column? Okay, so the last row is this, 3rd column, the value is 5.3002, which is what we are getting. Let us submit this. Okay, and definitely our answer should be correct. Yeah, it is correct. Let's move on to the next task. The next task is, we can also use the arithmetic with the keyword end. For example, we can write end -1, end -2. So if you want, generally while talking we say last but one, second last. Okay, so these things can be actually translated in the code. So let us create a scalar variable that contains the value in the 2nd to last row and 3rd column of the data. 2nd to last row and 3rd column of the data. So I'll write x is equal to data. First of all, I have to specify the position of the row. So which row I want? 2nd to last. So last row is end. 2nd to last will be end -1, comma. Which column I want? 3rd column. So I'll write 3. And then I will run this section once again. So I got 9.0698, which is the correct answer, because this is the 2nd to last row means this row, and the 3rd column is this. Okay, So let us check it. All right, wonderful. The answer is correct. Let's move on to the next task. So this way you can access the variables. Right now, in further practice, I can show you. Just now we have seen the colon operator, right? So let us say I want to extract the first column of this matrix. So and save it in variable x. So I will write x is equal to, I want all the rows, so I will use colon, and the first column, so I will use 1. All the rows, so in row operator I have used colon, okay, and comma 1. But from where I am extracting? I am extracting from data, so I need to write data also, otherwise it will return a error. Right, let us run this section and check. Yes, you got the first column, right? Let us say I want to extract the second row from this second row. So how do I extract the second row? To extract the second row, I will write x is equal to data. I want to extract the only second row, but I want all the columns. So for all the columns, I will replace this 1 by colon. Replace this 1 by colon. So I will get the second row and all the columns. Let us try this, whether I get it or not. Okay, definitely I get it. So I'm getting the second row 18, 1.78, etc. when I use this, right? So this is how you can use the colon operator. Wonderful. Let us move on to the next section. The next section is about extracting multiple elements. Right now we have seen how we can extract a single element, single row, or a single column. We can also extract multiple elements in this, right? So how do you do that? So just now we have seen this. When you write 2 comma colon, it gives you the entire second row. Okay, let us do this task. More practice. Create a variable named density that contains the second column of the matrix named as data. Okay, so I will create a new variable density. I'll name it as density. I'll write equal to, from where I want to extract? I want to extract from data. Okay, I want to extract from data. And what do I want to extract from data? I want to extract from data the second column of the matrix. Second column of the matrix. So the second column, but all the rows. So for all the rows, I'll use the colon operator, comma. I want to extract the second column, so I'll write 2. Okay, let us run this. So I got the second column. Let us check whether it is correct. Yes, it is correct, right? Next, let's move on to the next task. The next task is create a variable volumes containing the last 2 columns of the data. Now this is a new kind of question, right? So you can also use the colon operator very efficiently in such cases. For example, if you want to extract the first 3 rows, so you can write starting position, end position, and in between you can have a colon. For example, here you see, when I write x is equal to a in bracket 1 colon 3, that means from the first row till the third row, comma colon. The second colon indicates all the columns, whereas in the first field 1 colon 3 indicates from first row to third row. I hope you are getting this. Okay, now let us come to the task. What it is asking us to do, create a variable volumes. So I'll write volumes. So just writing the names will create the variable equal to. What I want, last 2 columns of the data. So I will write data. Okay, how many rows I need? There is no mention about the rows. That means I need all the rows. So for that I'll use the colon operator. Colon operator specifies all. If it is written in the first field, it specifies all the rows, comma. Which columns I need? Which columns I need? Last 2 columns. So the last 2 columns, how many columns we have? 1, 2, 3, 4. So last 2 columns are third and fourth. So I will write 3 colon 4. So 3 colon 4 indicates from third till fourth. Let us check whether this answer is correct or not. Good, this is correct. Okay, let us submit. Yes, so we are getting the correct answer, right? So this way also we can do it. Let us do the next task. Next task is a single index value can be used to reference vector elements. For example, v3 returns the third element of vector v, either a row or a column vector, right? So when you have a vector, that means if you have a single column or a single row, if you simply use the keyword, if you simply use 3, 4, it will return the third element, fourth element, etc. Right? Now using a single index value, create a variable named p containing the sixth element in the vector density. So just now we have created this density, you see here. Now this is a column vector. So we will say 0.53 is first element, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth and 7. Right? So it is asking us to take out the sixth element. So it's very simple. I'll write p is equal to density in bracket. Which element I want? 6. So I'll write 6 and I will run this section. Okay. So it will exactly extract the sixth element 6.110. Let us check whether our task is correct or not. Okay. So I'll submit this. Yes, it is correct. Moving on to next task. A single range of index values can be used to reference a subset of vector. For example, x is equal to v3 colon n returns a subset of vector v containing the elements from third to the last. Okay, so instead of when you are working with vector means either one row or one column. You can use this colon operator for going from a particular element to the last element or the first element or in between elements. So the task here is using a range of index values, create a vector named p containing second through fifth elements of density. Second through fifth element of density, right? So what I'll do is I'll write p is equal to density. Second through fifth means I want second, third, fourth and fifth. So I'll write 2 starting from 2 colon 5. So this means it will start from 2, it will go up to 5. Let me run this section. Okay, so I got second, third, fourth and fifth from this density. 1.78, 0.86, 1.6 and 3. Let us check whether it is correct. Great, that is correct, right? So this is how you can use the colon operator. It is very useful operator. The end keyword, the colon operator, is extremely useful when you want to access some part of the matrix. And remember, this is what is required in any kind of engineering calculation. If you are an electrical engineer, you must have worked with the in the network theory subject, the matrix of you must have used the Cramer's rule. Okay, so where you have to write these nodal equations or the loop equations. Ultimately you create a matrix. So the element in a matrix basically represents a particular node current or voltage in other when you apply the KVL, right? So you will have to extract a particular voltage or current or power from a given matrix. There this kind of programming will be very useful. Moving on, indices can be non-consecutive numbers. Okay, so we can also take the first, third and sixth element. It is not necessary that it should be you should take only the first element, second element, third element. You can take the first, third and sixth element of the density. So that is also possible, right? This can be done. Let's move on to the next section. All right. So just now we have seen that how do you access the value of an array? How do you access the position of an array? So I want to access a particular element, a column or a row. How do I do that? How do I change the value? So once you have the reference to that position, you can easily change the values, right? So you can use the colon character to extract entire columns. Now the first task is create a vector named v2 containing the last column of data, right? So I'll simply write v2 equal to, I need data. Which column I need? I need the last column. So last column is 1, 2, 3, fourth column. So I'll write all the rows, fourth column, right? This is correct. All the rows, fourth column. Let me check. Yes. Let me submit this. Now what we are expected to do is that we want to change the value, change a particular value in this vector. Okay, so elements of a variable can be altered by combining indexing with assignment. Assignment means equal to. So suppose you want to change the second element. Okay, so I'll say a2 equal to something. In our case the name is v2. Okay, so v2 equal to something. So the question is change the first element in v2 from NaN to 0.5. Okay, so how do I do that? First of all, I need to write the name of the variable. Okay, which position I want to change? NaN is at first position, so I'll write 1. Okay, so V21 represents the NaN value. Now I want to change it, so I'll write equal to, I'll write 0.5. Let me check this. Great. So you see the difference. Earlier it was NaN, now it is 0.5. So you can use indexing along with assignment to change the values, right? Let us submit the task. Of course it is correct. Let us move on to the next task. Okay. Change the value of the element in the first row and the last column of data to 0.5. Now see this figure. Now here this number is NaN. This number is NaN in this bigger matrix. I want to change this particular number to 0.5. So how do I do that? Now I want to do this in data, in this particular variable named as data, which is a 7/4 matrix. So I will have to first of all reach to that point and then change it. So how do I reach to that point? So I'll write data. Where is my this NaN number? It is in which row, which column? It is in the first row. Which column? Fourth column. So I'll write 1, 4. So 1, 4 represents the first row, fourth column. Okay. What value I want to make it? I want to make it as 0.5. So I'll write data 1, 4 equal to 0.5, and I'll run this section and check whether it is working or not. Absolutely working. You see this is changed to 0.5. Okay, so all you need to do is to correctly reach to a particular point and then change its value. Okay, so let us submit this. So wonderful, this is done. Let's go to the next task. It's just a further practice. You can combine indexing with assignment to change the array values to equal other elements. For example, you can change one element with another element. That is also possible. So if you write data 14 is equal to data 12, so it will interchange, it will assign the new value to this. Okay, so these all things are easily possible. Okay, for example, let us try doing this. Let me make this second value as the first value. So what is this second value? 18. This value is second row, first column. So I'll write data second row comma first column equal to, I want to make it equal to the first row, first column. So I'll write data 1, 1. Okay. So this value 18 should become 3. Let us check whether it happens so or not. So let us run this. Yes, we got both are 3. Okay, so this way also it can be done. So many things are possible. It is not that only one way you can do. Many combinations you can explore. But the key thing is you have to understand how the particular element in an array or a matrix can be accessed. Once you get the access to that element, modifying it is not a big deal, right? So this is the changing values in arrays section. This section is completed. Now there are many array operations which are required on vectors. So I guess we'll continue with this portion in the in our next video, wherein we'll do this array operations will be done in the next, like addition, multiplication, division, matrix multiplication, etc. Many array operations, because this is the crux of this MATLAB. Okay, so let us stop today's discussion here. Thank you so much, dear students.